Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning to everyone. I hope you can hear my voice clearly. Thank you everyone for joining today's training organized by the Center for Professional Development, CPD. I am Dr. Raini from the Learning Design Unit and I will be your moderator for this session. Before we begin, let's us recite Kitab Al-Fatihah. Alhamdulillah, for today's training entitled Fundamentals of Instructional Design, we are honored to have with us our internal speaker, Assistant Prof. Dr. Muhammad Shukri Nordin. Before we proceed further, I would like to invite the Director of CPD, Prof. T.S. Dr. Mira Katiwi, to deliver her welcoming remarks. Please welcome, Prof.
Right. Am I audible?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And thank you so much, Dr. Raini, Sister Hilda, for arranging these sessions. And of course, thank you so much to my very good friend and my very good Sifu, Dr. Shukri. He has been a good friend and also teacher of mine. So I learned a lot from him, and I'm very sure it will be a very fruitful sessions where he will share fundamentals of instructional design, which is, I think, it should be a 101 for everyone, but we should not assume that everyone has this. So that's why we have these sessions, because I believe for those who have just joined academicians, we were not trained this kind of knowledge during our PhD. So it's a very good time for us. And we have quite a number of new staff in IIUM. As per our list, we have more than 50 new academicians joining IIUM in the past year alone. So it's a good time for us to have this session. So thank you so much, Dr. Shukri, for allowing us to have some of your busy time. I know it's not really easy to actually spare sometimes in the 7th week, where usually people have midterms and start marking the assignments, but you're still allowing us to have some of that busy time. And I really, really appreciate it. On behalf of CPD, we really thank you and looking forward to learn from you in these sessions as well as for the upcoming sessions to come. So to all colleagues, to all friends, thank you for joining the session today. I'm very sure it will usually, as you know, Dr. Shukri, usually some people will come a little bit late. Maybe they are finishing the class just now, so they will be soon joining the session today. But this session is also recorded, so it will be a living resources for everyone to refer to even after the session finish. So again, Jazakumullah khair to Dr. Raini and the team, Sister Hilda and all CPD team, and to all participants, and the most important thing to our speaker today, Jazakumullah khair, barakallahu fikum wa ahlikum jami'an. Eid Mubarak. We are still in the month of Shawwal. Maaf zahir batin, and have fun in this session. Thank you so much again. Thank you, Dr. Shukri. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you so much, Prof, for the warm welcoming remarks. Okay, before we allow our speaker to start, let me just have the introduction slides first. So inshallah, today we'll be having a training on fundamentals of instructional design. The introduction, effective instructional design is crucial for developing impactful learning experiences. This training program aims to equip participants with foundational knowledge and practical skills in instructional design, focusing on the RD model and Bloom's taxonomy framework. Mastering this will enable participants to create structured, engaging, and outcome-driven learning materials. Inshallah, for the training outcomes, 1, to understand the principles and importance of instructional design. 2, gain in-depth knowledge of the RD, analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation model. 3, to apply Bloom's taxonomy to design effective learning objectives and assessment. 4, to develop structured lesson plans based on instructional design principles. And the last one is to enhance learner engagement and knowledge retention through well-structured content. I'm happy to brief you about our speaker, Dr. Mohd Shukri Nordin. He is an assistant professor with 25 years of experience in learning design and educational technology here in IUM. He received his doctorate in education from the School of Education, the University of Nottingham, Malaysia campus. Before that, he studied English language and literature for his undergraduate degree and master's degree in instructional technology from IUM. Dr. Mohd Shukri Nordin's interests are mainly in, but not limited to, instructional design, learning design, educational technology, technology-enhanced active learning, TEAL, technology-enhanced language learning, TEL, visual literacy, and also photography. When he is not teaching or training, he can be found wandering the region with family or taking photos or whatever strikes his fancy. So don't forget, 2 CTD points will be awarded to those who fill in their I-10. Will be shared 15 minutes after the training starts, recorded in Zoom for a certain duration, and to fill in the evaluation form within the 24 hours. And please do not forget to get ready for the photos to be taken at the end of training. Without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Mohd Shukri Nordin.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My audio clear?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Raini, for the introduction. Thank you very much, Prof. Mira, for the words. Okay, and thank you very much, CPD, for the opportunity to share a bit of what I know about EDI and Bloom taxonomy, fundamentals of instructional media, which is yes, a very important or core element of for us as educators or academics. First of all, Eid Mubarak, Selamat Hari Raya, Maaf Zahir dan Batin to everyone. We are still in Shawwal. Hopefully, everyone will have had a good Shawwal celebration. I think more to come. Each kuliah, each department until the end of Shawwal, inshallah. Okay, so we have 2 hours. Without further ado, let me just begin this session. Thank you very much. I can see from the number of participants here, there are about 90 plus participants, and I was told that 300 plus registered. I can see some veterans here as well, which is so many veteran names to me. This is just a fundamental sharing. The experts are already here also, so hopefully can contribute to the discussion as well. Regard this as a discussion, sharing session, so that together we can just discuss uh, uh, what can we get from knowing about the fundamentals of the fundamentals of instructional design, especially focusing on AD model and Bloom taxonomy. And since we are in a large large group in Zoom, okay, feel free to use the chat. I'm looking at the same time at my slide as well as the chat box, so that I can look at if anyone has any questions, you can just ask in the chat box. Of course, CPD Dr. Raini will help me managing this. Okay, all right. To kick off first, to kick off our session, I would like to hear from everyone. What do you think about this question? Let me, oh, sorry, let me share my slide first. My bad. Okay. Now my screen is gone. Oh, here it is. I need my screen here. So hold on, let me just readjust my screen. Can everyone see my slides?
Not yet.
Eh? Oh, okay. Where did it go? Hold on. I'm looking at 2 screens. So where did it go?
So it says here Shukri Nordin has started screen sharing. Double click to enter full screen mode.
Okay, hold on. Okay, here it is. Here we go. Your screen sharing is paused. Why is it paused? It doesn't want me to share. Don't let me put my slide here so that I can see it at the same time. Oops, my bad.
How many
Hold on,
screen that you
yeah.
have, Shukri?
I'm looking at 3. Yes, Atikram, welcome. Okay, let me I organized earlier, but now it became haywire. Okay, let me just. Okay, can see now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. But now I cannot see the chat. I want to see the chat as well. Ah, here it is. Okay. All right. Okay, we are good to go. Well, okay. Let us begin again. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So before we begin, to kick off this session, let me let us do this first. Type your answer in chat, but do not press enter yet. Okay, do not press enter yet. Get ready to type your answer to my questions that will come up in a bit, but do not press enter yet until I say so. And this is the question. Oops. Okay. Now the question is not coming. Canva is not friendly today. Hmm. Where is oh, okay, hold on, wait. Okay, never mind. Give me one more moment. Where did my screen go now? Sorry, everyone, my bad.
Okay.
Oh, he doesn't want me to share. Now I know what's wrong. Doesn't want me to share in more than one screen. Okay, now my screen is sharing. If I do this, I cannot see everyone, but it's okay. Because I need to see the okay, all right. Okay, that is the question. Okay, do not press enter yet. Get ready with the answer first. When you prepare to teach a new course or lesson, what is the first thing that you do? Okay. We can see your ChatGPT, of course. We use ChatGPT for everything these days. Fine. Don't share yet. Please don't share yet until I say so. Do not share yet in the chat. Okay, for those who have shared, okay, fine. For those who have yet to share, do not share yet. Okay, stand by with all your answer. All right. I hope we get a lot of answer. Wait for the countdown. Okay, 2, 3. Okay, everyone share now. Press enter. Oh, wow. Look at the learning outcome, study plan, textbook, prepare PowerPoint slide, do preparation, set the syllabus. Ooh, okay. Go through course outline, identify clear learning objective, interesting. Google it. Okay. Course plan and preparation. Nobody said ask ChatGPT, eh? Interesting.
That
Okay,
answer
let's
is
see
too
what we have.
honest, Yusuf.
Sorry?
That answer is too honest.
Come on. We have to accept the future now. Look at the course plan, know the audience, check the course outline, go through course outline, a lot of course outline here. Look at the course plan, look for teaching material, refer to Google it. Okay. By Google it, I'm assuming Googling for content or go through course preparation, clear objective, cannot rely on, of course, cannot rely on ChatGPT 100%. We are the one, sometimes ChatGPT cannot be trusted, correct? So we are the one who validate ChatGPT. ChatGPT is not to be controlling us, correct? But that is for a different workshop. Review other lecture from YouTube. Check LO, then only ask ChatGPT. Interesting. After course outline, then only ChatGPT. Okay. A lot of politically correct answer here. Okay. That would be another interesting discussion on looking at the use of AI. Okay. But for now, we look at fundamentals of instructional design. Okay. We have a lot of answer there. Nobody is wrong. Okay, in this. Okay, everybody has their own way of starting their courses. Okay, everybody has their own way of decided what to teach, how to teach, and what not. Everybody has a good basis. Okay. Of course, referring to course outline would be our compass, our guideline, our map to deliver our courses. But there is a systematic approach or a systematic way to align all this together, course outline, resources, even ChatGPT, okay? And this is what we know as instructional design. What is instructional design? Basically, it's a systematic process of translating general principles of learning and instruction into plans for instructional materials and learning. So we map out. So this systematic approach is known as instructional design or ID, not to be confused. If anyone from KOED, you have ID also, but that is a different ID. Okay, interior design called ID as well. In KOED, our ID is instructional design. But in simple terms, it is the intentional process of planning how we will teach so that students can learn effectively, or in other words, also referring to designing or planning for the best students learning experience. We want them to experience learning in the best way possible, and we want to ensure that they acquire or they get what do you call that? Uh, they retain whatever body of knowledge that we deliver the content to them. Okay, and it is about being a thoughtful designer or architects of learning experience for the students rather than just going with trial and error. So that is basically what instructional design in the gist of instructional design. So why does it matter to us as academics? So as academics, we are experts in our field. We know this. Okay, but many of us are not or were not formally trained in teaching methodologies or pedagogies. Okay, ID, instructional design, can help us ensure that we cover all bases from starting from figuring out what our students needs or who our learners are, and to delivering content engagingly, to checking or to assess if it all works at the end. So this uh, instructional design can help us plan or design all this for our students. Okay, especially important with diverse students and in environments like online teaching where planning is very crucial. Okay, online teaching like this without planning, it will be just a lecture, a talk. Okay, so it requires a lot of planning. So there are so many models, frameworks, or theories in instructional design. But for this session, fundamentals of instructional design, we are just going to look at two of uh, most fundamental models, which is AD and the Bloom's revised taxonomy. Okay, feel free to drop a line in chat if you have any questions. Okay, I'm looking at the chat at the same time as well as my slides. Yeah. So today we will look at an approach that covers instructional design called AD. It is an approach that covers the whole process of design and also the framework of thinking about the learning outcome or levels of learning called Bloom taxonomy. Okay, can I see a show of hand? Uh, But looking at the experts here, looking at the veterans here, I'm sure everyone has heard of AD model. But can I see in chat if anyone is still not familiar or still not clear of what AD model or Bloom's revised taxonomies are? To some, this might be not clear. Okay, thank you. To some, this might be a refresher also. AD not familiar. Okay. Not familiar with both. Okay. Not familiar too. Okay. Not clear. All right. AD use innovations, haven't used. I don't get it. Kamaril Azla. I don't quite get. There's a revised version of Blooms. Yes, Brother Shaukat. I think I remember you. The one that is most. Okay. We will go into that later. Never hear the AD model. Okay. Never heard of. Okay, we will begin with AD model first. Okay, what is this AD models that everyone is talking about? I mean, at least the one that I'm talking about today, AD model. AD model is a model design. I've heard of AD model for research, but not sure how to use it in instructional design. Okay, okay, understood. Thank you. AD model is not new actually. It was developed for the military originally, surprisingly, okay, during the World War II, long time ago, in order to create a systematic training during World War, okay, by the military. And now it has been used in a lot of other fields. And now we are looking at the use of AD in education as well. Okay, it comprises of AD model, uh, 5 elements, starting with analyze, then we go to design, then we go to develop. After develop, we go to implement. Then after implement, the last element is evaluate. Okay, So you can see AD model shouldn't be seen as a linear model. Okay, it is normally seen as a circle, and feedback from each phase can inform or refine the others, and it is a continuous cycle of process, AD. Okay, let us look at the process one by one. The first phase is an analysis phase. The phase that we use to identify the learning problems, goals, audience, and existing knowledge of the learners. Okay, we are identifying who our learners are first, of which is our audience. What is the learning outcome or the learning goals that we want to achieve from the audience, from the students, and what are the prior knowledge that they already have in order for us to customize our delivery of content to the specific intended learners. Okay, so basically that is, we analyze everything, not just the students, we analyze the resources, the environment, the materials, the technology, what we have, what we don't have, okay, so that we know what we are going to prepare in order for us to execute the learning objective, in order for us to achieve, to answer the learning objective or the learning problems at the end of the learning session, teaching and learning session. Okay. All right. So these are some of the key questions that you can ask in the analysis phase. Who are the learners? What are the overall goals to achieve? What knowledge, skills, attitudes, or behaviors need to be taught? What is the necessary contents amount and level? What resources are required and available? And in instructional design, this phase sometimes can take a big portion of the whole process. Okay, in preparing, what do we deliver? What do we as how do we assess? So this is where we prepare for everything. The blueprint of our instruction is here in the analysis phase. Okay. We don't start designing, we don't start creating materials yet until we finish analyzing in this phase. Okay. And in instructional design, in the world of instructional design, for example, this can take a lot of portion, and sometimes a teamwork is required for this. Yeah. Okay. Next phase is the design phase. This is where we plan the instructional strategies. How do we teach? Okay, the assessment and the content structure. So this is, we started designing the planning the material here. We want to design, for example, as simple as the slide presentation. Okay, we plan how many slides do we need. Okay, we design this, how many material do we need, video, do we need audio, do we need notes in PDFs or in what do you call that, printed copy. Okay, we design the instructions. Is it a face-to-face? Then it will be a different design. Is it an online? It is a different design. Or will it be a blended? Will it be a hybrid? Will it be a fully online course? So all this is in the design phase. Okay, so some of the key questions that we can ask here is, how will the content and activities be sequenced, presented, and reinforced? What are the objectives of each session or unit? What skills or outcomes are expected for each? Okay, what methodology will be used to achieve each of the objective? What media or resources will be used in instruction? And how will students' understanding be assessed? So everything, all the way from delivery to assessment, is designed here. Okay, this normally translated to the course plan. Everyone is familiar with the course plan, right? So you can see it from the analysis. We plan the course outline, then we plan the course plan. Everything is in the design phase. All right. Next is the development phase, where we create and we assemble the instructional materials based on the design plan. So compare this to your course plan just now. We already have our course plan. Now in the development phase, sorry, we know from the course plan that we are going to teach this component, and this component. Okay, and we have decided in the design phase how many materials do we need? This week we need 1 slide, 2 videos, for example, or a PDF notes. So then once we have that, we have listed that down, then we are ready to create or assemble the instructional materials from that design plan. Some of the key questions that should be asked is, how should the content be organized? What instructor and student activity should be included? Okay, if everyone is familiar with a lesson plan, so a lesson plan should usually comprises of a set induction. So what do we do during set induction? Then during the delivery of the main content, what activity should be included? Will it be teacher centered? Will it be student centered? Okay, and how can practice opportunities be provided for students? This is where we develop. From the design phase, we ask another question we ask a question, for example, what do we want the students to do during the class, during the session? Okay, what activities do they do? We want them to do activities that involve materials like mahjong paper, or card, or flashcard, or sticky notes, for example. Okay, so this is where we develop or we assemble, we get all the materials. Okay, what media should be used when teaching, for example. Okay, will it be a multimedia, or will it be just a single media? So this is where we get, you can imagine this like cooking as well. All right, so this is where we get the ingredient. Okay, just now, the earlier part was the recipe. Now it's going to the market to get the ingredient for our cooking. All right, and prepare all the ingredient in the kitchen before we started cooking. And another question we can ask is, how can confirming and corrective feedback be presented? So what if it is a quiz? Then we prepare the quiz. If it is a test, what are the questions that we need to prepare for the students? All right, and the last one, the fourth one is the implementation phase, where we deliver or distribute the instructional materials to learners. So the actual action for our session with the students, where we implement all our plan. We start the lesson in the classroom based on the mode that we have decided, whether it is physical or fully online or blended or hybrid. Okay, so this is where we deliver. And if we compare back to the analogy of cooking that I mentioned earlier, this is where we started cooking and serving the food. Okay. Some of the key questions is, during the implementation phase, during the classroom, how can students be motivated? How should the lessons be introduced? This is referring to the set induction just now. What kinds of questions are best to use? How should presentation media like PowerPoint or Canva slides be used? How should each lesson or presentation be summarized and reviewed? And how can time be used wisely during the lesson? So all these need to be considered by us, by the instructor, when we design everything. So this is a proper planning phase to connect all the ideas together, all the components together, so that it is properly delivered to the learners. Okay. And last phase is the evaluation phase. So to assess the effectiveness and efficiency of the instructional materials and learning process, we assess everything. But as I mentioned earlier, let us look at the key questions first. During the evaluation phase, we ask questions like, how can the success of the course be determined? Is it good? Is it bad for the learners? How do we get learners to give us feedback? Which experts should review the materials before presenting to students? Okay, our colleague can be an expert. Okay, for example, what changes should be made to improve the course after it is presented? We get feedback from the students, for example, in the form of reflection. We get students to reflect by the end of the session or by the end of the course of the semester. Okay, what is feedback from the student? What is good? What is bad? How can it be improved? How do they want it to be improved, for example? Okay, but in AD model, in instructional design, the phase is always interlinked. Okay. Evaluation phase is not necessarily for the course alone. Evaluation phase can be done to evaluate the implementation, to evaluate the development, to evaluate the design phase, as well as the analysis phase. So it is all interlinked together. If you look at evaluate, it can go straight to here, to design, to develop, to implement. So all that cycles are, all that components in the cycles are developed properly and implemented properly. All right. Hold on, yeah. So that is AD model in a gist, okay? Because this is a fundamental sharing session for AD model. I do not want to go too deep into each stage because 2 hours will be enough if you want to talk about how to execute each stage properly. There are a lot of other subcomponents that we should look at. But now let's go back to our chat box. Which component do you think is the most important in AD model in reference to your own course? Okay, can we see answers in the chat box? Which components do you think is the most important from AD model in relation to developing or designing your course? Would it be analyze, design, develop, implement, or evaluate? Design and develop. Every component is equally important, Dr. Fatima. Implement, design, analyze, evaluate. Okay. Analyze and evaluate. Oh, the first and the last. Interesting. Okay, are we getting more answer? Design, develop, and implement. Design and develop. Let's see if we can get a few more answers. Evaluate, analyze, analysis. Okay, design and implement. Okay, I think that we can use all these answers. All are important, cannot skip the step. Yeah, Dr. Wira, thank you. If we want to talk about proper planning, yes, we cannot skip any of the steps. Every step has to be followed equally and properly. But there is no right or wrong answer here. Okay, each component in AD model plays a very important role to one another. All right. You might put stress on the first. For example, I can see a lot of analyze, a lot of participants here answer analyze. Yes, of course. And analysis is most important because you want to truly understand who your target audience are. Okay, at what level they are. Okay, so in order for you to be able to design the best structure, the best cost plan, the best cost outline, for example. All right, without analysis, excuse me, without analysis, of course, you won't be able to design that. You will not have any background knowledge or on who your learners are and how do you teach them. Then your design and your develop, even to your implement stage or phase, will be what can we say as short sendiri? What is short sendiri in English? Hmm.
Self-shock.
Okay. So um, now I'm lost for words of what short sendiri is in English. So you're self-centered basically. The Lulu? What is the Lulu? Dr. Hanisa, uh, Malay or English is the Lulu? I have no idea. Delusional. Oh, okay. All right. Delusional. Yes. The Lulu. Is that even a word? A word? The Lulu? Bahasa Gen Z. Oh, okay. So this is bangsa galau, I would say. All right. So yeah, delusional. You are short sendiri. Um, you don't give consideration to who your audience are. In one's own world. Yes, correct. Okay. Self-centered. So of course, but even just full of yourself. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Yes, full of yourself. Thank you very much. I think that's the better word. The right word. Uh, But then again, even if you have analyzed everything, you consider everything, your target audience are foundation students in CFS, for example, 18, 19 years old, or you have analyzed and your target audience are postgraduate students, master students, adult, working adults. Okay, so you know how you have in mind already. But when it comes to the design stage, you are not designing your course plan in a proper way, catering to the right audience, so it won't work as well as how you plan. All right. Uh, Same goes to develop. If you have analyzed, you have designed, but during development stage, you just using low quality material, for example, okay, or irrelevant YouTube video that you found, you think you like it, but it's not relevant. Students cannot understand, for example, the video or too long of a video. Okay, that is another sub elements or sub components of a development stage, for example. Or if we want to look at a very specific case of multimedia, the use of multimedia, for example, the use of video. A video cannot be too long because everyone has different attention span, for example. And in this age of TikTok, uh, videos usually are bite-sized, okay, 1 to 3 minutes, basically, in order for you to get the best attention from the audience. So, and then during implementation, regardless if you have the best course plan, the best material, but during the implementation stage, okay, there can be hurdles, there can be struggles. Okay, for example, my own case just now, I planned everything, and during the implementation at the start, there was a glitch because I think because I got too tamak and then use more than one monitors, so I got confused of what to share. All right, so it can happen, glitch or hurdles. Okay, and then evaluate is where you evaluate the whole thing. What went wrong? What went good? Okay, reflection for the students from the students is good. That's why we have our SFS by the end of the semester. But SFS is very general. I would say out of 30, 40 students, normally how many would comment in SFS? Not more than 10 normally for my students lah. Okay, I'm not sure about others, but all my courses, usually the one that comments, the word comments in CFS, SFS, not more than 10 normally, even though I have 30 to 40 students at one time. All right. So how do we get feedback from them? A meaningful or good feedback that you can use to evaluate the effectiveness of your delivery, the effectiveness of your teaching material, the effectiveness of the activities that you do in the classroom. All right. So I always have one of the approach that I use with my students is not every students like this, but I got very good feedback, which is reflection. Okay, by the as part of the assessment, I get them to reflect in their e-portfolio. Uh, what have they learned? Okay, how are they going to apply what they have learned? What are the blockers? Okay, the one that I really like is the blockers that they point out. Sometimes I think that, oh, okay, my materials are good, but they would comment that, oh, font too small, color too bright, or whatever. So these are some of the things that I do to evaluate the effectiveness of the whole process, not just for the whole semester, but for specific week as well. All right. So That is AD model. So basically, in short, AD model can help us properly plan, properly design, develop, deliver our teaching content, okay, for learning transfer to happen. Because learning transfer, sorry, not learning transfer, knowledge transfer. Knowledge transfer is not easy, it's very tricky. Okay, every student has different mindset, okay, to transfer what is in our head, the knowledge that we have, the knowledge that we possess to a new brain, to a new head is not an easy task. Okay, how many of us struggle every semester? Uh, because to us it looks simple. To us, it sounds so simple. Yet we are uh, amazed at how difficult for students to grasp the fundamental knowledge sometimes, all right? Regardless of videos we share, regardless of infographics we share, regardless of uh, written materials we share, but sometimes students fail to grasp uh, even to a fundamental knowledge of what we are trying to teach them, okay? So, yes. But this, bear in mind that AD model is not supposed to be seen as something rigid. Okay, it is not something that is a must for you to follow. Okay, it is supposed to be seen as a guideline for you to prepare. Okay, as a mindset, if I may say so, a mindset that we can adopt in our teaching profession. Okay, so that we train our mind to see in this flow. Okay, we analyze first. Okay, and then we design, and then we develop for the implementation. So a mindset, a habit. Okay, if I may say so, also a habit that we can form, uh, or we can nurture throughout our career, so that our uh, teaching is systematic. And also, it will make it easier also for us to justify during audit. Okay. I know everyone, when we hear the word audit, we will like, okay, never ending, right? Endless audit. So it is easier by having a systematic approach to teaching and learning, to our teaching. Okay, it is easier for us to justify, okay, what we do. Okay, so then we are not seen as quoting Andi Kadir, full of yourself or short sendiri. All right, which makes it difficult for us to uh, justify. Okay, so that is Eddie model. Uh, the gist of what Eddie model is. Okay, let's take few moments to see if anyone has any Q&A before we begin to the next part about Blue. Can we have any questions you have, you feel like you want to ask in chat box regarding to AD model? While waiting for the questions, AD model is also a very fundamental model that is being used in a lot of instructional design industry, okay, especially by instructional designers. One of the main concern that we have right now, we are many universities are being tasked to develop micro-credential, for example, right? I think CPD is taking the responsibility to lead micro-credential development, okay? But this is where development, design, research approach, how can we employ? It's almost, to answer your question, Dr. Amnan, it's almost the same flow. Okay. Limits and weaknesses of AD. Wow, these are interesting questions. Weaknesses. Which one would you answer? Okay. Can we look at these two questions first? Yeah. The design development and approach. Uh, the same flow can be utilized by this looking at this flow, for example. May I know where you're from? Which kuliah? Brother Muhammad Adnan, Dr. Adnan? Okay. And you are using DDR for? Oh, okay. All right. I think this can be a personal consultation because I cannot just give a straight answer to this because you are already using DDR as your framework. Uh, so in order for you to make AD as part of your theoretical framework, I need to know what you are looking at. Okay, so it can be a long discussion, Brother Amnan. Okay, but we can have a talk if you are interested. Uh, we are looking at but the flow of developing your research, okay, from the DDR is DDR angle is that you can use the same flow, analyze, design, develop, and implement it during your testing, and then you test whether what you design and develop works or not. That is my short and simple answer. Okay, and then your findings will be where coming from your evaluations of your research problem. Okay. Thank you, Prof. Thank you. Yes, and not everyone is aware of what DDR is, design and development research. Okay, it's a very thorough research where you design and develop something and you evaluate the effectiveness of the development. Yep. Uh, of course, and Brother Mahyudi. Okay. I'm sorry, I will just refer everyone to as brother because I do not know whether you are doctor's professor or so it's quite confusing unless you introduce yourself. Sorry, yeah. Of course, AD is not perfect. It's not a perfect model. It has limits and it has weaknesses. We need to consider also the time, for example, that it will take. Do we have the time? Time is one of the main enemy to AD model. Okay, how long do we allocate for analysis? How long do we allocate for design? How long do we allocate for development? Okay, with all other our core tasks for our hakiki, okay, kerja hakiki, okay. How long do we have the time to spend on employing or utilizing AD model in our work, for example? That's why I said that the very least you could do is develop it as a habit or a mindset, okay, that you analyze first what you're going to teach. Then you design what are the activities you have in your mind. So make it a very simple flow. And then, but when it becomes a habit, okay, when I first teaching also, I have no idea during my early days of teaching. Of course, I had no idea what AD model or what not is. Everything is, like I said earlier in the beginning of the presentation, everything is trial and error also. Okay, I had no background of pedagogy or teaching methodology as well. All right. Uh, so everything is trial and error. But through time, when I discover AD, I make it a habit or a mental framework. So then I started to follow the flow, analyze, to design, to develop before I actually implement. Okay. But if you work in a big team, for example, that's why it was developed for the military AD model during World War. When you work as a team, you want fast result. Okay, they need to design very fast training for the armies. Okay, so they follow this flow to make it very systematic. But at the end of the day, if you are a one-man show, okay, one-man soldier, okay, develop it as a habit, as a mindset. Okay, so that uh, it become muscle memory, at least mental muscle memory, for you to be able to implement the best for your students. Okay, all right. Let us look at the next component or the next objective for our. Are there any models? Oh, okay. Good question. Good question, Sister Karima. Yes, when we talk about instructional design, there are so many models. Everybody wants to develop. Many people develop their own version, their own model. Okay, we have Kirkpatrick, we have the Gagne, 9 events of instruction, for example, which is famously used. Uh, I'm sure everyone, if you have background from, for those who have background in school and familiar with RPH, okay, Rancangan Pengajian Harian or lesson plan, uh, we have Gagne's 9 event of instruction, which is our school lesson plan or RPH is using. For example, and thank you, Dr. Aizat, Dr. Sakina, for helping me. We have triple DE, we have Assure model, we have Samir, we have Red. There are so many. Okay, so if you ask about what are the advantages of the AD model compared to other models, is AD is basically the like the basic or core foundation of instructional design, because everything goes back to the root, which is instructional design. How you design the best instruction or the best learning experience for your students. Okay, some people, they don't, there are people I've met who don't subscribe to AD because it's uh to them it's too many layers. Okay, they don't have the time. Like I said earlier, time is the enemy. They don't have the time or the resources to go one by one with AD. Okay, so they use a different approach. They use a simpler model. Okay, but there are, yes, to answer your questions, there are many other models for instructional design. Okay, as long as the models that you follow helps you to design the best instruction. Okay, when you provide instruction to your student understood your instruction. Okay, your student enjoy the activity and learning happen and the knowledge is retained. That is our core. That constitute to a wholesome learning experience. Okay, because the core objective is you want to create or you want to design the best learning experience for your students. At the end of the day, they leave your class, they will say, oh, that is one of the best, if not the best class I've had so far. I understand and I learn and I remember. Okay, that is learning experience. A model is just a model, a framework, a guide. Okay, regardless of what model you use, as long as it goes back to the development of the best or the achievement of the best learning experience for your students, then objective achieved. Some teachers, I think we were students before, right? We've met many teachers. Sometimes our favorite teacher can be very unorthodox, right? They the way they teach is so unorthodox, but at the end of the lesson, at the end of the class, at the end of the day, we understood the lesson. It's like, oh, I enjoyed that class so much. Very thoughtful, right? And some teachers, they just talk, but the way they talk, the way they deliver is so meaningful that oh, okay, you just listen as if looking at your favorite K-pop artist. If K-pop is your favorite lah. Okay. It was like you are like jaw drop. Okay. So yes. Uh but these models is a guide for you, a scaffolding, if you may say so, in order for you to develop the best learning experience. The core words is learning experience. All right. You create why do you do activities with your students? You want them to enjoy the class. You want them to have a good experience with the class. All right. But why did we focus on AD today? Is because AD is uh, the pioneer or the fundamental of a lot of other models. A lot of other models were based from AD because it started way earlier in the world during the World War. AD model, okay, and a lot of new models are based on these variations of AD models. Okay, so some researcher maybe they say, oh, AD model is too many, five. They shorten it to three, for example, simplify. Okay, like for example, Dr. Aizat mentioned in the chat, DDE, design, develop, deliver, evaluate. So removing analysis, for example. All right. So basically, that is the objective lah. So at least we know the fundamental. We know the foundation of it before we go to more. And like Ganye's, let me type in the chat. Like Ganye's 9 events of instructions. Ganye, for example, has sorry, nine events of instruction that still based on AD, but he really focus on each aspects to develop what to exactly do, starting from set induction all the way to assessment at the end of the class, on guiding uh, instructors what to do. Okay, to some people, wow, from 5 becoming 9. Okay, but some people, they want to be led, they want to be uh, uh, guided step by step. Okay, some people, they like it very loose. So at the end of the day, ask yourself, how do you want to go about it? Okay, do you want to go really detailed, or do you want to go very loose, basic, as long as learning objective is achieved? Okay, so that's how you decide, inshallah. Okay. All right, let's look at, okay, during the analysis, one of the component that we need to solidify or we need to decide is the learning objective. Okay, uh, I'm sure everyone here is already familiar with learning objective. You ask questions at the end of the lesson, the students will be able to what? So that is a very basic sentence structure for learning objectives, right? Or learning outcome. At the end of the lesson, student will be able to do what? And how do you assess that they are able to do that? Okay, so our second model can help us prepare that. I'm sure many are familiar with this, Bloom's revised taxonomy. But there was a question just now asking, there is a revised taxonomy? Yes, the answer is yes. The one that we are familiar with today is the revised one. Okay. Benjamin Bloom created this in his original 1956, focusing on the cognitive domains. Okay. So when we say cognitive, meaning what is happening in our head. All right. So this is the revised one. Where is my slide? Remember, starting from remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, all the way to create. All right. So this, if you are familiar with this goes from low order thinking skill to all the way to high order thinking skill. Schools are always talking about this, right? Since a few years ago, they are talking about HOTS, high order thinking skill, or kemahiran berfikir aras tinggi, KEBAT. Okay, so the high order would refer to these three, the top three: analyze, evaluate, and create. And the low order thinking skill refers to the bottom one: remember, understand, and apply. All right. Uh, the revised one, the originally Bloom. Hold on. Uh, how many of you still remember the original? What changed? If you are familiar, let me ask this question. You can answer in chat. I barely remember. IoT, Sister Nurul Iman, you're referring to Internet of Things? What change is create and evaluate? Yes, not just that. What changes is the original, everything in the original is different. At the remember, they have knowledge, understanding, they change it to, before understanding, it's comprehension, and before apply, it's analysis. They bring this up now, and before analysis, it has application. Sorry, my bad. Let me go one by one. Knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. So the original has evaluation on top, but now the revised one, it was revised uh, during the early millennium. Okay, a group of researchers, including one of the students of Benjamin Bloom, revised this to make this what it is, what we are seeing now. Remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, create. And since then, the world has been referring to this revised one. The world is no longer using the old, the original one from Bloom, okay? And everyone is now subscribing to the revised version. Let me look at the question first. Oh, I thought you are talking about Internet of Things because I understand it as Internet of Things. Uh, Referring to lot, IoT, HOT level in exam questions. Okay, that's a different aspect altogether, a different discussion. Okay, to develop exam questions to refer and to what do you call that? Specify whether your exam question is low order thinking skill or your exam question is IoT or HOT. All right. Word used in create and evaluate. No, create. Okay. Basically, it changes almost everything from the original. Okay, let's look at what is one by one first. Starting from remember. Remember is asking, can the student recall or recognize information? It's from memory. Okay, to retrieve relevant knowledge from long-term memory. Example, to list the formulas for Newton's law, for example. So that is a pure uh, recall task. You just recall. To list down primary and secondary color, for example. So these are some examples that I gave. Reiterate, to memorize, to duplicate, to repeat, to identify, to outline. Yes, thank you for sharing the diagram. That is the comparison between. It changed from noun to verb form. Yes, knowledge, remember, comprehension, understand, application, apply. Okay, it changed the category, the word class from noun to verb form. Correct. All right. So I think because it is more action based, they want to see verb in action. So this is remember. So this is the according to Bloom taxonomy, the lowest order of thinking. Just to remember, just to rote memorization. Okay. If you remember, you can answer. If you don't remember, you cannot answer without the upper level. Now, the next stage is to understand, meaning after you remember, you understand, meaning you are able to explain or you are able to construct meaning from the messages, from the knowledge, from in their own words. For example, explain in your own words what is Newton's second law. Okay, explain, paraphrase, report, describe, summarize, compare. All right, so these are some of the verbs that you can use in your lesson, in your course outline. Meaning at the end of the lesson, students should be able to explain. So it's measurable. It is not abstract. Okay. And then we go to apply, to carry out or use a procedure in given situation. Can they use the knowledge that you share with them in a new situation or a new problem? Okay. Practice, to calculate, to implement, to operate, to use, to illustrate. These are some of the verbs, action verbs that you can use in your course outline so that it is measurable. All right. Apply. Now that they remember the knowledge, they understand the knowledge. Now they can apply the knowledge. Okay. Next is to analyze. They have applied. They understood. They remember. Okay. I think I lost my connection a bit just now. Okay, I'm back. They remember. They understood. They applied. Now they can analyze. They can explore relationships, causes or connections. Can they break down the information into parts and see relationship between the parts? Can they calculate? Can they contrast, categorize, organize, distinguish? Can they structure? Can they analyze the theme forming from what they have applied? Okay, can they see the structure, the connection, the relationship? So these are some of the keywords that you can use in your statement of learning objectives or learning outcome. And the fifth one is to evaluate, to make judgment based on criteria and standards, to assess, to judge, to defend, to prioritize, to critique, to measure. There are so many uh, keywords or verbs that you can use. I think, if I'm not mistaken, um, Prof. Mira or Dr. Raini, long time ago, CPD created this booklet full of action verbs that can be used by lecturers to create their learning outcome, the learning objective. Do we still have that?
Do you mean the booklet or the Excel file?
No, the booklet. I think it was created long time ago,
Yeah.
CPD.
The
I
colorful
still
one.
have the colorful, the round one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. We
That
still have
that
that. I think
yes,
we
that
have
is
the
a
digital version. Let me
yes,
see
yes.
when.
That is a very good reference for our lecturers, for our colleagues to have, and they can create their learning outcomes based on that action verbs. But we have a question here, but in engineering, it needs to refer to the, of course, yes, understood. Sometimes, like in engineering, you have a certain body controlling, you still need to address the manual because engineering is not my field, so I cannot compare the manual with my practice. But if it is measurable, whatever according to the manual is measurable, can be assessed, can be justified, then yeah, you can use relevant keywords of action verbs like this, like assess, judge, defend, to assess that your students has achieved the learning objective. That is the goal that we want to set, because at the end of the day, everything will need to be measurable. Oh, okay. Prof, I have a different one, Prof.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was what we use in magnetic as well. So
I see. Can I share the one that I have, Prof?
sure. Yes, please.
With permission from CPD?
Absolutely, please. No need for permission.
Because this was from CPD long time ago, Prof.
Sure, please.
Yes, hold on, let me find it. It is a very good reference. I use it a lot as well. Um, Where, but I just need to find it. Hmm. Teaching. Where is it? Tanya, let me find it. Hopefully, this can be used by everyone to for your learning, for your lesson. Ah, here it is. Okay. Teaching and learning taxonomy, they call it. No, I haven't checked. Okay. I think for our younger colleagues, you might have not seen this. Okay, so this is a very good reference. Can be used for the during your designing of your course plan or lesson plan, because all those selected verbs in the document is measurable. Okay, that is the purpose. Most welcome, Prof. All right, and then coming back to Bloom, the last one will be, of course, according to Bloom, the highest order of thinking skill, which is the ability to create, meaning to use existing information to make something new, to put things together, to form original product or to a new coherent whole, for example, uh, to design your own experiment or your own test, to invent, to develop, to compose, to generate, to construct, okay, to write your own. For our colleagues in CELPAT, for example, to create, you teach them all the grammatical components, all the sentence structure and everything. At the end of the day, you want them to be able to create original short story using the language skills that they have supposedly mastered, and then we can assess the language. Thanks for making me feel young. Most welcome. All right. So create as much as possible. We want them to be able to create something new from the knowledge that we share. They have the basic. They have the basic knowledge of the body, the subject matter that we deliver. We share with them one body of knowledge. Using that body of knowledge, they are able to create something new. They are able to transcend beyond the knowledge that we share. Okay, so that's why create is considered as the highest order of thinking. Okay, maybe I'm not sure. I'm just grasping here. Just now mentioning referring back to engineering just now. Maybe, but at the end of the day or at the end of the semester, they are able to create something new based on their engineering skills, for example. So that is something measurable, something commendable. All right, combining the body of knowledge, the components to create something new. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Brother Afzal. Okay, so that is basically what Bloom's revised taxonomy is. Okay, I always say revised because sometimes people can confuse the new one, this one, with the old one, which is the one that is using nouns. Okay, so how do we use this in our course plan? Oh, sorry, in our course outline, in order for us to write our learning outcomes. Okay, where do we put remember? Where do we put understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, or create? And this also ties down to, I think, if also one session can be done on constructive alignment, okay, which is that will take a different session where we align the learning outcome, learning objective to the activities, to the assessment. So all these tie together. Okay. For example, let me show. This is a matrix that you can use in order to develop uh, your learning objective or learning outcome. Um, because this on top here, you can see is blue. remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, create, which falls under the cognitive process dimension. And this can be paired with the knowledge dimension. And in terms of knowledge, we have four dimensions of knowledge: factual knowledge, conceptual knowledge, procedural knowledge, and metacognitive knowledge. So this is what I call as the taxonomy matrix. Okay, for example, you want your students to be able to remember facts. So these are one example of using the right action verb. You can list primary and asking student at the end of the lesson, students are able to list primary and secondary colors, for example. So that is the lowest order of thinking. They remember facts. All right. Or if you want to go all the way from the highest cognitive dimension, which is create, as well as the highest knowledge dimension, which is metacognitive, you can get them to create an innovative learning portfolio, where in the learning portfolio they reflect, they evaluate the knowledge that they have learned. Okay, so they create something new. So that is one example of combining the highest level of cognitive process dimension and the highest level of knowledge dimension. So using the keywords create. All right, and so I will share this slide after the workshop. The link to this is a Canva slides. Okay, so you can refer to this. To summarize features of a product, to respond to frequently asked questions, to apply. All these are factual knowledge. To analyze, to select the most complete list of activities, to check for consistency among sources, to create, generate a log of daily activities. So all these can be formed and can help you determine what you write as what do you call that? Your learning objective. So this understanding Bloom helps us. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Understanding Bloom help us to develop the learning outcome. So our learning outcome, the learning objective that we write in our course outline or in our course plan is justifiable, is accessible and valid. Okay, so that we don't write something vague or abstract that is difficult to be assessed. All right. So, and we can put this together also like this. Bloom's revised taxonomy application table. So students can, for example, all the levels of Bloom as well. Students can retrieve knowledge. Example, list or recall common food-related vocabulary taught in the lesson. What about understanding? Students can determine meaning by explain the meaning of newly learned food vocabulary words in their own words. For example, later can we request? Yes, of course. I will share the link to this slide in the chat box by the end of the session. Okay, applying. Carry out a procedure in a given situation. Example, order food items. So this is a lesson learning about vocabulary of food for English language teaching. Okay, for example, so all these are related to food and restaurants. Yeah, order food items from a menu in role-play restaurant situation. This is them applying the knowledge. Okay, sorry, my bad. What happened? What about analyzing? Students can determine parts, their purpose and relation to each other and the whole. For example, examples for learning, categorize food items into healthy, unhealthy, fruit, vegetables, meal types, breakfast, lunch, dinner, all uh, by using the language skills taught earlier regarding food. All right. And evaluating, students can make judgments based on criteria. Example, critique a restaurant menu for clarity and appeal using the vocabulary learned. Okay, for example, and creating. students can use elements to form an original product. For example, compose a short story using the new food vocabulary learned. So this is one example of how Bloom taxonomy can be done using this application table or using the taxonomy matrix earlier. Okay, so there are two ways uh, uh, we can use Bloom taxonomy. And how this, which one comes first, understanding or remembering? Very good question. Which comes first, understanding? In my opinion, it depends on the knowledge that we are going to learn. Some types of knowledge we can remember if we can understand. Yes, correct. I agree, Brother Hamad. Some body of knowledge you have to understand first before you can remember them. Okay, and like I said earlier, just like Eddie model, Bloom taxonomy is just a guide. Okay, at the end of the day, we are the master of that body of knowledge. We know whether it can be applicable or not to Bloom. Okay, and Bloom is not the foundation of everything, by the way. If we want to talk about the strength and weaknesses of Bloom, there are many people who do not want to subscribe to Bloom, for example. And there are some certain parties who are saying that why we always subscribe to Bloom? Is there no other models? Okay, uh, about Bloom, and sometimes scholars from the Islamic world were saying that where is the Islamization of knowledge in Bloom, for example. So these are questions that uh, uh, I can be honest that I do not have the answer yet. Whether is there any other models that we can refer to that is better than Bloom? But Bloom in general is one of the most used so far by a lot of sectors in education because it's easiest to follow in the most systematic way. Okay, a lot of people they want to be very systematic. They want to easier justify or defend their learning objective, their learning outcome. So using Bloom is a very structured and systematic way to develop this. So that's why. Okay. So, but at the end of the day, yes, we are the master of the knowledge that we share. We know, we possess a very good understanding of that knowledge. So we can tweak and customize. Okay. Don't just follow rigidly of any models. Sometimes we know better of what to do with that body of knowledge, how to navigate between, because no knowledge is uh, as concrete as ever. All right. Sometimes it can be very abstract. Sometimes you have to uh, cut corners in order for you to deliver it to the students so we know better. But this can be a very good guideline. Are we supposed to use them? Both taxonomy metrics, we supposed to design at the beginning of the semester. Another question by Brother Irwan. Are we at design stage or every time we enter class at the beginning of every week? All right. Good question. Uh, if we talk about at the beginning of every week, every class, yes. You can use this as your guideline. I mean, if you are teaching the same uh course every semester, so you prepare this one time, for example. This is the matrix is very generic. Okay. Uh, you want them to. You don't have to. What do you call that? To write everything in each box. Okay. If, for example, just for that week also only, you want them to be able to do understand to remember yes. Uh, if you are planning for the whole semester, 14 weeks, so a course outline has how many learning objective do you have in your course outline, by the way? Let me ask this first. For one course outline, usually 3 to 4 LOs, yes? 3. Okay, good enough. I've seen 5, 6 also sometimes. Okay. The basic uh the basic one is mostly 3. Okay, as long as you cover these 3 things: knowledge, skill, and attitude. Okay, KSA. The KSA of the LOs. Okay. Uh, a very basic LO should cover these 3 in a course outline. You want them to develop knowledge, you want them to master a skill, and you want them to develop certain attitude towards that knowledge. Okay, at least this is basic. Okay, 3 or 4 is okay. All right. So by having this in your mind, okay, you can design during the design stage. You can design your course outline by listing down what knowledge you want them to acquire throughout the semester. All right, what skill you want them to acquire throughout the semester. Okay, and what attitude you want them to have towards the course by the end of the semester. Question, boleh guna Bloom designing your course LOs? Yes, yes. I don't recommend every week unless there are changes to the above. Yes, because a course outline usually have 3 to 4 LOs only. So from that 3 to 4 LOs, you translate that to weekly lessons. Okay, so some weeks will cover the first or 1 or 2 LO. Okay, so it depends. Okay, but every week you still have to have the learning objective. Okay, like for schools, for example, they have their daily lesson plan, weekly RPH, rancangan pengajian harian, or lesson plan. So in that lesson plan itself, there is a micro learning objective. At the end of the day, what do you want them to be able to do? Okay, what is it that you want them to be able to do by the end of the lesson? Okay, so that can be a micro use of okay, Brother Irfan, I asked because in the example, list compose. Okay. In what instance we have micro objective is during the weekly class, that class that we have. So you imagine the class that you are going for every week. Okay, that class, there must be a very specific objective that you want them to achieve by the end of that class that answers to the LO from the course outline. Okay, so let's say that you have 3 LOs, one for knowledge, one for skill, one for attitude. So for that very specific class, which LO are you targeting? Okay, one LO sometimes can be covered by 2, 3 classes. So during the design and the development stage of AD, for example, if you are subscribing to AD, okay, uh, you want that week to be designed according to which LO. So there must be objective. Okay, what is it that you're trying to achieve by the end of that class, of that particular class? Okay, so by the end of the lesson, students should be able to do what? In response to the LO from the course outline, so that it is easier for you to justify at the during audit, for example, to justify, okay, for this week, that is the purpose of course plan as well. For this week, we do this because this is answering to this LO number 1. So LO number 1 can cover, for example, 2, 3 classes, for example. All right. So it is an LO that covers 3 classes for 3 consecutive weeks, for example. But still, because we don't have daily lesson plan, that's the thing. Okay, if in school, then they will have to state LO for each class. Okay, because we don't have that, we are not in school. So the micro objective is embedded in the course outline or the course plan. Okay, if referring to something like having a daily lesson plan, hopefully we are not asked to do that. That would be a hassle. But yes, sometimes it is embedded within the course outline to be delivered for respective weeks that we go into the classroom. Okay. All right. So even each activity that we do in the classroom, what is the objective of the activity? For example, we ask them to do a group discussion. What is the objective of that group discussion? All right, for them to be able to understand the lesson of that day. Okay, so everything can be trickled down to the sub, or like you said, Sister Aida, to the micro objectives of each lesson. All right. Brother Irwan, I asked because in the example list of food composed seems a bit too detailed and usually covered one class. Yes. For example, your whole lesson is uh, all about a theme, a food theme, for example. So for this week, you just want them to be able to remember the vocabulary. And then for the next week, you want them to be able to explain, or if it is too light, can be combined into one classes, two different levels, two or three different levels. So that can be, but it is a relatable theme that they can uh, carry on through several classes. So this is just one example. Whether you have to do this or not, it is up to you. I leave that to your judgment. But for me, if you can use this and develop this as a mindset or as a habit, mental habit, for you to think in such a structured or systematic way, then it is a good way to approach your preparation of lesson in a more uh, structured or systematic approach. Okay. All right. So, but your learning objective, whatever, still has to cover the SMART learning objectives. So that your learning objective has to be very specific, it has to be achievable, it has to be realistic, timely, and measurable. Sorry, I read it. I read it the other way around. Has to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. All right. So if you justify it this way, so then it's easier for you to justify if we are asked about why do we do this in our course plan, why do we include this in the course outline, so everything is justifiable based on a very sound theory or frameworks, of which we are looking at a very basic one, AD model and what do you call that? Bloom's taxonomy. Okay. All right. I think I have covered all the basis of AD model, uh, as well as Bloom taxonomy. And just to recap, thank you, Brother Jama. Hopefully, this can be used in your classroom. And to recap all this, uh, it is not a rigid framework or model. Shouldn't be seen as rigid. Shouldn't be followed rigidly. Let this be a guide, at least to develop the habit of structuring or planning our courses or our class in a more systematic and structured methods or approach. Okay, do we have any questions? Dr. Raini, I think we can, I'm leaving this for Q&A.
Okay. Actually, I have one question.
Oh, okay.
Would you say the selection of model to be applied, for example, like ID, is depending on the nature of the course?
Yes, correct. Is that your question? What is your question?
My question is the selection of model, because just now we have RD and then we have DDR and then we have Azure, right?
Mm,
Azure and then
mm, mm, mm.
DDD. So that one, because you said earlier, try and error. So meaning that as we go deeper into preparation of our courses, meaning that we will know what model, and then eventually it will
Mm,
lead to the nature of the course, right?
Yes, correct. That's why I mean. I think we as instructors, we as educators also, one of our, I think it's good also for us to learn and discover other models as well. Learn about models that can guide us in order for us to design the best learning experience for our students. Coming back to what I said earlier, at the end of the day, we want to give our students, our students are our client. Okay, so we owe it to them to give them the best learning experience that they can have during their time in this university. So that is our task, to guide them, to bring them along that journey of learning. And by the end of the journey, they can say that, oh, that was a very nice journey. Okay, I enjoyed that journey. I learned a lot from that journey. So in order for us to to craft the best, to become the best tour guide for our student, the best holiday destination for our students, we need to know where to go, what destination, the vehicle that we are going to take them along. So different model has slightly different variation, but the basis is still the basis of you need to know who you are dealing with first. That is the basic. Then how are you going to guide them? What do they need in order for them to be able to understand you? We need to understand our learners. For example, we need to know their learning style. Do they prefer visual? Do they prefer or audio? Do they prefer kinesthetic, hands-on approach? Okay, and then from there we can we need to what is the word I'm looking for? Analyze our students' profile. Yes, we need to profile our learners first, knowing who they are. If not, our teaching method will be just a one size fits all. Okay, it cannot be just one size fits all. We need to customize. All right. So, which model? If you're asking me which model to follow, uh, there are many, but we need to know at least if you learn a few, find one that is most convenient for you, find one that is most suitable for your specific course, and the easiest to use, the less hassle to be used, okay? That fits your time, that fits your energy, that fits your resources, okay? So to me, regardless of what model you are using, okay, there is okay, let me just answer first. Regardless of what model of that you are using, but at the end of the day, your students are giving a very good feedback. They have learned a lot from you, the best experience from you. They enjoy, they remember you as their murabbi. To me, of course, that is the best model that you have adopted. Okay. Another question from Brother Mahyudi: how to convince the auditors to be flexible since uh, interesting. Anyone from KCA?
I'm not sure.
How to, how to convince the auditors to be flexible since rigidity isn't a requirement for the instructional design? Okay. Is instructional design is a guided rigidity, I would say. There is still structure, okay? But you you don't follow it too linear. As long as you cover the bases, as long as you have analysis, okay? When auditors ask you, how do you know this will work? You can tell you have analyzed your learners, you have analyzed the course. Okay, this is what your students need. You design it according to the needs of the students. You develop according to what is the current needs of the students, of the learners. And during implementation, this is the feedback that you get, and you have evaluated, and the result is very promising. So to me, that can be a very good justification for the auditors, as long as your learning outcomes or your learning objective is observable, can be assessed, okay, then that should cover all the bases, and not to make it too complicated, okay? And like for the learning outcome also, learning objective, if for example, uh, you have covered the three, to me, at least the three: knowledge, skill, and attitude. Yeah, that should because uh MQA also, I would say, would agree to these three. You want to the objective is for the students to develop knowledge, to acquire knowledge, to develop to master the skill and to develop the right attitude towards the course. That should be a very good justification for your course as well. And to me, that's not rigid. To me, that is a very observable and achievable learning outcome. Do you have any other question?
Any other question, everyone? Dr. Shuk, by the way, I have shared with you in WhatsApp the Excel Bloom taxonomy, the one that when you ask.
Oh,
So we got that, I think a few years ago. I'm not sure who is the original creator, but I'm using it.
okay. Okay, this is nice. Thank you. I think we can share this also with our colleagues here
Okay, so yeah,
so that they
okay.
can use.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think there are many. The one that I use also is very simple. Just as my own reference. If I mean, sometimes when it is already a habit that we form, sometimes we can skip all this. But we know in as long as we have justification, we have evidence that we are following the correct foundations or correct model or frameworks, then to me it's okay, it's good enough. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Raini, for sharing.
You're welcome. Anyone? Any question? You still have like 140 plus here with us.
140 plus. Oh, wow.
I think the peak just now before because a few left for the 11:30
For
class.
class. Yes.
So I
Yes,
think
correct. Yes,
it
correct.
is about 160, I think, 160.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for staying to the end. Hopefully, if there is no more questions, I think we can wrap this, Dr. Raini.
Too hungry to think.
Okay, almost lunch, yes. But yeah, thank you, Brother Asim. I think thank you for staying to the end. What I'm sharing is just a very basic foundation, very fundamental aspects of course design or course development using fundamentals of instructional design, specifically referring to uh, AD model and Bloom taxonomy. It's a very guided approach to have something very systematic and organized. Okay, for us to make it easy for us to justify what we do, especially. But at the end of the day, it's all it is all for students' learning experience because as simple as sometimes when I plan, I would just think in my head, what do I want my students to do today? As simple as that. Okay, I know what I'm going to teach them, but the more important question that I would always ask myself is, what do I want them to do today? Because I always try to get them to reach that peak of Bloom taxonomy, which is to create. I know what I'm going to teach them, that body of knowledge. But what I want most from them is for them to be able to create from what I share. So I would always ask this question to myself before I prepare my class. What do I want them to do for that day? What activity? And would that activity be able to give them the best learning experience where they create something new or something different from the body of knowledge that I share with them? So that is the mindset that I adopt regardless of what model I'm using. Okay? Ask yourself this question. What do you want them to do?
Very simple question, but very deep, actually.
Yes. Hope
Dr.
so,
Shuk,
hope so. Yeah.
you mentioned just that you want to share with us the Canva link to the slides.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Okay, hold on. Let me just stop sharing first. and create. Okay, all right. Public view link. So this is okay. So here's the link to the Canva, the presentation that I shared just now.
Okay. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, most welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shuk. Okay, I think we can wrap up. Alhamdulillah, we have come to the end of our training session. Thank you very much, Dr. Mohd Shukri Nordin, for your insightful sharing. Inshallah, we look forward to having you again in our future sessions. To all participants, thank you for your
Inshallah.
active participation. We hope to see you again in our upcoming training session, inshallah. So before we take our photo, let's officially end our today's session with Tasbih Kafarah Salat. Okay, everyone, please turn on your camera. Let's take picture.
Dr. Suhaimi, veteran, what are you doing here?
Refresher, refresher.
I can see Prof. Amir also earlier. Man.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to take the first screen. How many screens we have? We have 3 screens. Okay, smile, everyone. Right, let's go to the second screen. Smile, everyone. And the final screen. Okay, this one has no one turned on. So, okay, I'm just going to take the picture. Smile, everyone. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Again, from CPD, thank you very much, Dr. Shuk, for accepting our invitation. I know you are replacing our original our original proposed speaker. Alhamdulillah for taking your time to share with us. And as to Deswan Brothers from Selpat, if you need to contact Dr. Shukri, you can Google in IUM, or if you have no idea how to contact, maybe you can contact Sister Hilda. And then Sister Hilda will give the Dr. Shuk's contract details later. Oh yeah. So Dr. Shuk already shared with you the email, his email address. Okay, I think that will be all. Thank you so much, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum salam wa barakatuh. Thank you very much all.
Thanks a lot. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم.
Most welcome. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.